And he is now coming from the world of mind where you have only the inconscient being and the somnambulist nature. She is working here in the night, darkness. Somnambulist, as if she is walking in the sleep, she is working nature. And the inconscient being, a Chaitana Purusha, he has lost his consciousness, is there. Now, this is a pair which appears everywhere, inconscient self and the somnambulist force. Everywhere. It is in many places in Savitri we have got the combination of presence and power. Presence and power. Now, presence is the inconscient self, the inconscient being, a Chaitana, without any Chaitana, without any consciousness, a Chaitana Purusha, I would say this. Inconscient self. But at the same time, he is also accompanied by his nature. And that nature is blind. She does not see what is happening in the darkness, but constantly she is working. It is because of her work that the whole process of evolution has begun. The inconscient self, the Achaitana Purusha, the being, is only the support for her work. He provides the base for her work. And on that support, she does whatever has got to be done in his will. So the activity is carried out by nature, by Prakriti, by force, as it says here. And the support for that activity, the ground for that activity is provided by being, self, Atman. So he is already introducing the metaphysical concept right in the beginning. Narad is now coming from the world soul into the region where the inconscient being and the somnambulist power are working simultaneously. In other words, he is stepping into the world of ignorance here, into the lower regions. In fact, the inconscient self and the somnambulist force are the counterparts of Sat and Chit. Sat, Chittananda, how is it true? The first is Sat, that is the being, or the transcendental soul. Sat. Chit, that is the dynamic force, activity, consciousness force. It is they who have become in this world this inconscient self and this somnambulist force. So it is actually the chaya, the shadow of Sat Chit itself down below into the void. Down below into the void. As we have seen earlier also many times, when the four powers separated from the divine source completely, then the horror of separation was seen in the void. The mother uses the phrase horror of separation. And in order to heal what had happened, correct the mistake of separation, the divine himself plunged into the void. Now, divine himself plunged into the void means Sat Chit has plunged into the void and became its opposite. It became this inconscient self and the somnambulist force. So it is that plunge to the divine in the inconscient which is now making things grow happen here. And that is now the story which will follow here. Having decided to visit the earth, Narad prepares himself to undergo the necessary transitions. See, Narad is a spiritual being. His body is a spiritual body, purple violet body, luminous body. And he wants to come to the earth. He has to take a physical body. So he is now preparing to undergo that transition of the spiritual body becoming the gross physical body. Having decided to visit the earth, Narad prepares himself to undergo the necessary transitions from the heavens to the gods into the soul space That is the first transition. Second transition, from mind into material things. Second transition. That is the route followed by him in this long journey. Now, the domain of the cosmic self with all its stifled creations is traversed to enter into the modalities of the evolutionary earth. He has to traverse through all the regions and get into the mood, into the manner of things which are happening in the evolutionary earth. If, on the other hand, holy is the Holy Spirit is his wideness, if on the other hand, on the other side, is the Holy Spirit in its wideness, if there are bright and beautiful worlds with their happy paths of superconscious delight, here on the sphere of sorrows are issues related to the inconscient self and the somnambulist force. On the other side is the Holy Spirit who is pervading everything in this wideness. But here the issues are connected with the somnambulist force and the blind somnambulist force and the inconscient being. Yeah, the transcendent Sat and Chit, the all-supporting, calm, truth existent, and the dynamic consciousness force have down below here their counterparts working at the inconscient self, Achetana Purusha, and the somnambulist force, the half-blind, half-seeing nature, Andha Prakriti. Andha means blind. Andha Prakriti, nature. This work is a travel, is full of grief and suffering, is subject to the dubious workings of fate and time and ignorance and death of this somnambulist force and the inconscient being. The heavenly visitor, that is Narad, is presently stepping into this sphere. So already a great change has occurred in Narad. The heavenly spiritual body is gone, world soul, mental being, now is stepping into the inconscient regions. Already a considerable change has taken place in the mood of the divine singer. What he was singing in the chant of glory of Lord Vishnu, here now change has taken place. In the next moment, this change deepens further when he identifies himself with the dumb spirit. He is undergoing change. Not only the change is taking place in him, but also he is identifying himself with a dumb spirit here, the inconscient being here, with matter, with the material world. He is identifying. He is not only seeing another thing, he is identifying himself, he is becoming one with that thing. And thus alone, he could make the word that he is carrying with him relevant to it. When he identifies himself with this creation, then the message which he brings, the power which he brings, becomes pertinent. Not until then. So this is kind of a transition which is taking place in the case of Narad's journey down below. Below him, circling. Now, how does the change take place? This is the most important thing and very deep also. We'll first quickly see it and we'll go into more details later on. See, while Narad is coming down here, he has already seen the changes in the different worlds. He is now identifying himself with the inconscient creation here. And his spiritual body is going to be a gross physical body. How that physical body is formed, how the spiritual body becomes the spiritual body becomes the gross physical body. That is the process which is quickly indicated here in this one long sentence here. What we are going to follow now, you see. Below him, circling, burn the myriad suns. Narad is coming down here and he sees everywhere myriad suns. Now, these myriad suns had therefore a relevance with the change which is going to occur in his body. They are the ones who are going to govern the transition from the spiritual body to the material body, these myriad suns. And now he is quickly describing the whole process of transition. He bore the ripples of the etheric sea. Narada is coming, change is taking place. Bore the ripples of the etheric sea. Vast ether only, and it is in the ocean, and there are waves on that. So when Narada is passing through that ether, through that ocean, he is feeling the impact of those waves on his physical body. That is the first thing. He feels the impact of that thing on his body. In fact, I will go in more detail later on, but let me first quickly run. He bore the ripples of the etheric sea. A primal air brought the first joy of touch. That is the second step. From ether, he has come to air. And there, what is it? A secret spirit drew its mighty breath, contracting and expanding this huge world in its formidable circuit through the void. Let me first read the whole sentence, then we'll come back again to that. The secret might of the creative fire displayed its triple power to build and form, its infinitesimal very-sparse weaving dance, its nebulous units grounding shape and mass, magic foundation and pattern of a world, its radiance bursting into the light of stars. And then the fourth thing is, he felt a sap of life, a sap of death, into solid matter's dense communion, plunging, and its obscure oneness of form he shared with the dumb spirit identity. Now, this is a very sweeping transition, very rapid transition. Essentially, what we are here are the five elements, Pancha Mahabhuta, as we call them, five elements. Sky, ether, then air, then fire, then water, and then earth, becoming more and more dense. Or the Sanskrit terminology, Akash, Vayu, then comes Agni, Tejas, then comes water, Apas, and then comes Prithvi. Akash, Vayu, Tejas, Apas, and Prithvi. So these are the five elements which are described here. And you see that they become grosser and grosser, thicker and thicker, more and more solid in the sequence. So these are the metaphysical elements which are given to us by the Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy of materialization of the spiritual is based on this one. What are the five elements? These are the five elements. And this is a very ancient knowledge. It is there in the Vedas, it is there in the Gita, it is there in all the scriptures also. And Sri Aurobindo gives great details of this process in the Life Divine. He describes how the material creation came out of the spiritual, you see. In the Life Divine, there is a chapter there, you see, basically connected with that. And this is what we are here rapidly indicate here. The transition from the spiritual to the material is what is being described here through all these five, from Akash, then Vayu, then Agni, Tejas, then Apas, water, and then Prithvi. In fact, even in Greek philosophy, there are four elements. They speak of four elements. The fifth is called the quintessence, fifth essence, you say, fifth essence, which is not mentioned specifically. But that fifth element here is Akash, ether. Other four are known there. What we call wind, then fire, then water, and then earth. These are the Greek elements, you see. In Plato, for each element, there is a geometrical form. Air is like this, water is like this. Some geometrical forms are there given by Plato. So these are there constantly. Now, okay, let us see this thing. Nara's subtle spiritual body now starts undergoing a change towards more and more gross form. He has to come in flesh and blood and walk into the palace. So it is becoming thicker and thicker, grosser form. The intention is to identify himself with the mortality's cumbersomeness. What we have got here is here. This he does by the process of the Sankhya material creation. Below him, he sees a myriad suns, each sun pouring its creative energy into luminous generative substance. Each sun. Then he takes a deeper plunge by projecting the higher nature into the lower universal nature. This is your lower universal nature, you see. Higher nature is spiritual nature. From that into this one. By successfully utilizing the five elemental conditions of ether, air, fire, water, earth, heavier and heavier forms, through the subtle to the gross physical, are assumed. In the last stage, plunging further deep down, he identifies himself with the dumb spirit in communion with solid matter. In solid matter, he finds that the spirit itself has identified with matter, and Narad also identifies with that. Matter in a state of obscure oneness of forms means undifferentiated matter. Undifferentiated matter. It is one, but there are no objects, there are no entities as such they receive. A totally undifferentiated, unevolved state of material existence. Although this is a state of indeterminateness, it is yet the spirit's state accepted for the purposes of bringing out, through a long and fruitful process, divine determinates. Why it has become inconscious, why it has become indeterminate? Out of the whole process of evolution, the determinates appear, objects appear, names and forms appear, characters appear. It is for that purpose it has become, so to say, characterless, featureless, blank, without any content in it, and out of that the contents have to arrive for that purpose. And later on, of course, these contents have to become the divine contents. Now, at the moment, they are in the field of ignorance and inconscience. And therefore, these contents have to eventually become luminous contents. To give rise to the multiplicity of shining forms is an aspect of material manifestation. The whole purpose of this creation is eventually there should be the divine manifestation, material manifestation. How do you do that thing? You become nothing first. You become indeterminate first. You become blank. And out of that blank, you start gathering things and then build up slowly, evolving forms. And that is the whole process of evolution which is taking place. So that is the purpose behind it. And the dumb spirit has accepted that condition. Narad now has sort of identified himself with that dumb spirit while he is coming down here.